But Anuruddh, let me come to you now, because you're essentially the new kid on the block, at least as far as this panel is concerned, starting your journey in 2022. I want to understand from you the use case as far as, what you're hoping to do, how you intend to disrupt the healthcare space, and what is the key differentiator? Because there's many that are promising or trying to offer disruption in the healthcare space using AI, and specifically generative AI.
Yeah. So I think we've basically gone after a problem statement that, the current version of LLMs are really good at solving. There are a billion health-related searches that happen on Google every single day. And those are happening from people that are really frustrated about their health, and they're not able to get the right answer because you're just getting blogs and you're left to decipher all of that on your own. Our sort of core August AI engine is really good at giving personalized, high-quality answers to people there. And in order to do that, we basically had to build the most powerful, AI health engine in the world. So we've beat in OpenAI's GPT-4, Google's MedPalm 2 on, all of the medical benchmarks that matter. And on top of that, we've sort of put it on WhatsApp, and we're distributing it for free right now, and letting people sort of clear their health doubts and seeing very healthy sort of adoption from people.
In terms of how you're different, Anuruddh, if I were to ask you to sort of, in a line, tell me what is the key differentiator as far as August AI is concerned, what would that be? And more importantly, what's the aspiration? What's the funding plan? Where do you want to see yourself over the next few years?
Got it. So I think in terms of how we're different is we're doing everything sort of extremely focused on health. So simple examples, GPT-4, you can upload a PDF today of, say, your lab report and ask it questions. August is a lot better at extracting sort of all of those information, taking your, say, a medical scan, extracting text from that, and helping you understand all of that. So that's one differentiation that we have. Plus, we're solving for the consumer, building a consumer product. We've built proactive agency into August, right? How many times, whenever you have a fever, August will, if you've talked to it about it, will come in and check in on you for that. We've launched about, 3 months back. We're sitting at about 14,000 users right now. And we're currently in the process of raising our seed round.
Okay, currently in the process of raising your, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so in terms of aspirations, I think it's basically looking at, can you become the front door for, how people navigate their health? Basically saying that, okay, instead of going to Google and being very worried and then just getting 20 minutes with a doctor, can you come to August? It connects you to the right person. It, orders your lab test for you. It gets your medication for you, makes the entire process of taking care of your health, which is extremely important and something that people don't end up prioritizing until it's too late. Can it be a lot more proactive in taking care of you there, leading to much better health outcomes for everybody?
Okay, so, Umakant, I want to come back to you and focus a little bit more on the India AI strategy, the country strategy that we must have, as well as link that to the purpose of trying to use AI as a digital public good, which is what we've done with the India Stack, etc. as well. How does that fit into the economic strategy that you were speaking of?
So I think fundamentally, we have to look at three major aspects, right? So one is the foundational aspects. And I think that's where, we need to grow many more, open AI equivalents out of India, right? So because, the best programming language for machine shouldn't be just English. It should be, Indic languages. And I think there's some very interesting startups that are coming up with that space. And we need to figure out a way to actually help them grow much faster. Because it's important that if we have to unleash, it's not that AI is going to supplement human effort or replace it. In some sense, human plus AI is actually going to make the output far larger, and I think that's an area that we need to grow. So if you have to actually make billion plus Indians look at leveraging AI, then it has to be in their language. So just ChatGPT has to be Indic GPT or whatever, equivalent, right? So that's actually number one, I think, and we need to figure out how do we do that? How do we enable with capital, with compute, so that, because definitely, talent is there. And you saw examples of, Dhrupal was trying to, unleash 300 million students that we have in India, or, August AI, which is actually trying to leverage and create, healthcare, GPT equivalent out of India. So we see that, the roots are there. How do we unleash them at a much bigger scale is going to be challenged. So I think one is, the foundational aspects of AI. We need to figure out how do we actually turn them into, something that more people can use. And it's important that the diversity is there. So just like the way, human intelligence is very diverse, right? Like you have amazing amount of intellect about how to present ideas, and maybe we have some ideas about technology, right? So your intelligence is fundamentally different than mine, right? So I think that kind of diversity is very critical for human race, and because it has allowed it to flourish so far. So I think that diversity India has in terms of its rich data sets. We have like 5,000 years or more of knowledge, which actually has embedded into culture, right? And imagine if we are able to translate that into systems, right? And that could be probably India's gift to the world as well. And I think that is where the digital public good example or perspective is actually very powerful. So if I look at it, right, India, if it can convert its data and culture and practices into these intelligences, which could be then powering some of the other aspects that could be fundamentally very, very interesting. The second part that I see is that AI is built for solving planet scale problems, right? So be it climate change. I mean, climate change is a very real problem. We might end up with 4 degrees higher temperature by the end of this century, right? What it is going to mean is that it's going to not only raise the water levels near the shores, but it's also going to mean that more and more extreme climatic events will come inshore, right? So it's going to impact everyone, right? So now imagine if you're able to use AI, such a powerful planet scale technology, to dial down the human drivers which are actually amping up this climate change, we could actually have a very real solution. So I think AI and its usage in planet scale problems is a very fundamental path forward. The third thing that I see, and it's very critical, I see that AI has a foundational impact on what we call as sustainable development goals, right? And I think at G20 we talked about quite a bit of that as well. And I think if we can pair achieving of the SDG goals with the AI revolution, we could actually have a much faster progress on that. Whether it is reducing, cost to access basic healthcare, cost to access basic governance, cost to access, fundamental, things like education, it could actually have a much deeper and wider impact on society. And I think, of course, it gets, AI is right now getting into the boardrooms with, all the dramas and, everything happening. But I think we keep forgetting that it's a very powerful tool.
Dhrupal, very quickly to you, what is the big constraint that you're faced with as you move forward, and what is the kind of capital requirement that you have, even though you are, you're starting to turn profitable?
Yep. So at this stage, as and when we are growing, right, the product development becomes more and more kind of tech-oriented, and the talent pool, of course, we are having, India has a huge population, and we are seeing a lot of, like, India is a software superpower, right? So that's how we are figuring out. We are based in Ahmedabad, not the tier 1 cities of startups. And it is very challenging to get very kind of top quality startups. But thankfully, we have so good team in Ahmedabad, which is working day and night. Literally, we are kind of 6 days, and we work so hard during this time to prepare the things right for across the world. Like, kind of, we are creating products here in India and delivering across the world. That's what kind of boosts our team a lot. Like, we see stories from different parts of the world coming up, like students in Brazil or Turkey making kind of projects. Like, a girl in Brazil made a digital spirometer and make a gamified AI game to do respiratory breathing exercise for young kids. So those kind of projects kind of excites us a lot. The next part is how we are looking to scale up. Is now the next step for next stage for STEMpedia is the global expansion. We started our subsidiaries in US and Finland for North American region and the European region expansion. That's the point. That's we already initiated. But for expanding in any country, we will need a significant amount of capital to kind of conquer the region and the schools. Like we recently tied up with 3 school districts in USA and now looking to work with European schools as well. Our products are very well utilized in the top schools in UAE, Singapore, South Korea. We have translated in multiple languages. So language is also becoming content availability of the availability and creating the content in different languages. That is also a very essential part of the next stage of our growth story.
Yeah, well, that was the point that Umakant was making as well. Anuruddh, very quickly to you, when do you hope to close your seed round, and what about your global aspirations?
So I think we're already global as things stand today. We have users from 116 countries. And I think it's because that problem statement is so globally ubiquitous, right, that we're actually able to, be in that stage where people are pulling the product out of our hands. We've doubled in our user base over, just the last month itself. And I think that basically means that if you look at our competitors, they have raised, tens to hundreds to billions of dollars. And we've built like a similar product on top of just being bootstrapped. So we do see like a very major capital requirement that needs to come in if we as an Indian company, want to compete, because there will be somebody that will look at this idea, in the US and try something. And we don't want sort of, funding to be something that becomes a blocker for us there. So we're hoping, on the back of sort of all the growth and the adoption that we're seeing, we should be closing our seed round pretty quickly.
That's it then on this episode of Young Turks. From all of us here on the team, thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned. The news continues right after this.